Have you ever wished the overhead bin on a plane has luggage assignments like your seat does? Or do you feel completely betrayed when an airline lets other passengers sneak in oversized carry-ons with no consequences? If that were the case, we'd all know exactly how much space is left while booking our ticket, and we wouldn't be scrambling to board the flight early just to fight for an overhead bin spot. But since that's not happening yet, in this video, I'm sharing how you can outsmart these airlines and avoid their ever-increasing baggage fees. If you're like me, you're probably fed up with keeping up with these rising costs. If you are, then you are going to find value in this video. So, let's dive right in now. Traveling with just a carry-on is a game changer. It means your bag is almost guaranteed to arrive with you, and so there's no wasting time waiting around at baggage claim. And let's be honest, it feels great to skip those ridiculous checked bag fees. But with more people catching on to the perks of traveling light, airlines are starting to crack down on carry-on rules, and enforcing those rules has become a lot stricter. In this video, I'll walk you through the growing challenges of carry-on travel, break down what's actually happening, and share several tips to help you make sure your bag stays with you, and that you don't get hit with those sneaky checked bag fees. You might have heard people calling this the Carry-On Crackdown, so honestly, what's really going on here? Well, you are about to find out. Okay, let's start with budget airlines like Spirit and Frontier. These carriers run on an a la carte business model, meaning your ticket covers the basics, and everything else, like choosing a seat or bringing a bag, comes with an extra fee. Last year, Frontier faced serious backlash after reports surfaced that gate agents were allegedly receiving a monetary incentive to enforce bag size policies aggressively. Passengers claimed they were being forced to test their bags in those dreaded airport bag sizers before boarding, sometimes even being charged fees even after their bags fit in the sizer. That happened to me one time when I was going to Canada, and I only had an overstuffed backpack that could not fit into the sizer, not due to the weight, but because I did not pack it properly. I was charged $71. I was so upset. I do not use that backpack again. Then there are airlines like Southwest, which is known for being generous when it comes to checked luggage. They still let you check 2 bags for free, but they're now putting extra emphasis on their carry-on policy too. According to them, it's nothing new. You're allowed 1 carry-on and 1 personal item, and that's it. What's changing is how strictly they're enforcing it. That personal item can include just about anything you're carrying with you, even if it's something small like a sling bag or a pillow. The days of rolling up to the gate with a suitcase, a backpack, a shopping bag, and a neck pillow are officially over. Southwest has said, "The rules haven't changed. We're just making sure everyone follows them." I even ran into this firsthand on a United Airlines flight from Miami to Amsterdam. Before boarding, the gate agent made an announcement reminding everyone they could bring only 1 carry-on and 1 personal item. They specifically pointed out that even something small like a fanny pack would count as a personal item. It definitely caught people off guard, and let me tell you, there were some frantic shuffling and stuffing going on as passengers tried to consolidate their bags. So why is this happening now? While I can't speak directly for budget carriers, it's not exactly a stretch to think this might be another way to tack on fees and squeeze more revenue out of passengers. Airlines make billions every year on things like checked bag fees, seat upgrades, and other add-ons. And as more people try to avoid those costs by traveling light, it makes sense that they'd want to tighten the rules on carry-ons. When it comes to big airlines like Southwest, the real issue isn't just enforcing carry-on limits, it's all about overhead bin space and how that affects boarding times. I don't know about you, but it seems like every flight I've been on lately has had those bins packed to the brim. And more often than not, the gate agent's go-to line is, if you have a roller bag, it's going to need to be gate checked. So, here's my #1 tip. Know your airline's rules. And I don't just mean the general guidelines. They can vary from airline to airline and sometimes even flight to flight. You need to get into the specifics. What's the exact carry-on size limit? Is there a weight restriction? What are the personal item requirements? How many personal items can you bring? And most importantly, what exactly counts as a personal item? Also, if you're flying on more than one airline during your trip, don't just check the rules for the one you booked with. Research all the airlines you'll be flying on. If you're traveling with budget carriers that have all those a la carte bag charges, I've found it's usually cheaper to pay for your carry-on at the time of booking. Another big factor is the carry-on bag you choose to travel with. Trust me, not all bags are created equal, especially when it comes to fitting within the rules of different airlines. You want a bag that's going to work for you on a variety of airlines, not just the one you're flying with that day. Domestic carry-on sizes are usually around 22 inches by 14 inches by 9 inches, with no weight limit. But once you're flying internationally, things can get trickier. European and Asian airlines tend to have smaller size limits, and they almost always enforce weight restrictions, usually around 7 to 10 kilograms. That's roughly 15 to 22 pounds. This is where travelers can get caught out. Just because your bag passes with no issues on a Delta or United flight to Europe doesn't mean it'll make it back when you're flying on a much stricter airline like Air France. I've tested tons of carry-ons for this channel, and I can tell you there's a big difference between bags that just meet the size requirements and ones that actually make traveling easier. Some of my top picks include the Travel Pro Max Light 5, which is super lightweight and fits comfortably within most airline sizers. The Briggs & Riley ZDX International Carry-On is sturdy and made specifically for international travel. And both Monos and Level 8 make hard-sided carry-ons that are not only durable, but designed to meet the dimension requirements, even with wheels and handles. Trust me, choosing the right bag can make your life way easier when you're trying to avoid the dreaded gate check. If you're into luggage reviews, be sure to subscribe to this channel. And if you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button. It helps YouTube know I'm actually doing something useful here. I've got a few more bag recommendations I'll share later, but remember, the bag itself is just one part of the equation. How you pack it and what you pack makes all the difference. If you're flying with airlines that have strict weight limits, managing your bag's weight is crucial. Hard-sided cases can weigh around 7 pounds empty, which eats into your weight allowance really quickly. So how do you stay within limits? Pack less. I know, you're probably thinking, how dare you? But trust me, I used to be an overpacker, and now I've found that doing a test pack about a week before the trip works wonders. I'll literally pack my bag, live out of it for a couple of days, and see what I don't use. It's always the same. A few items end up being totally unnecessary. And yes, I do videos on YouTube about packing, but I still find myself packing things that end up being so unnecessary. I know you do too. But the test pack is truly a game changer. Seriously, you should give it a try. Now let's talk about your personal item. Every airline gives you one carry-on and one personal item, and the personal item policy can vary a bit. Generally, if it fits under the seat in front of you, it's good to go. The average size is around 18 inches by 14 inches by 8 inches, but don't push it too much. Think laptop bags, purses, or your standard school-size backpack, not another carry-on. When I traveled full-time, I used the Troubadour Apex Backpack 3.0 bag as my personal item. It was able to fit my laptop and even my camera gear, and it worked perfectly. I am also a big fan of the In-Case RC Travel Laptop Backpack, and there are tons of other options out there. I will leave the links in the description for the ones we mention in this video. The point is, for all the bags I choose, I have never had an issue with size or getting hassled at the gate. This is where you want to keep anything you might need during the flight. Even if you're sure your carry-on won't be gate checked, you want your important stuff. Your electronics, chargers, and anything you might need in the first 24 hours of your trip, safe and handy in your personal item. Also, I recommend putting any batteries or expensive gadgets in here just in case. And here's a little pro tip. Don't forget the overhead bins aren't for personal items. Personal items go under the seat in front of you. If your purse, tote bag, or jacket doesn't fit on top of your carry-on in the bin, it should be under the seat. The goal is to keep that overhead bin space for actual carry-ons, so everyone has room to get their bags stored away. It makes boarding so much smoother for everyone. Let's dive into some tips that will help you avoid being hassled when it comes to carry-ons. I've flown with just a carry-on so many times, and I can count on one hand the number of times I've had to deal with my bag being questioned or asked to check my bag at the gate. Here's how I make it happen. First things first, I avoid the check-in counter like the plague. Seriously, don't even go near it if you can help it. checking in online is your best friend. It saves you time, and more importantly, it reduces the chances of someone stopping you before you even get to security and scrutinizing your bag. Once I've checked in online, I feel a lot more confident about what's ahead. Next, I always board as soon as my group is called. Not before. Wait in line and don't get ahead of yourself, but definitely not after. I've seen that dread everyone has to that gate check announcement come up for the mid-group. And trust me, you don't want to be in the group that has to deal with that. So when it's my turn, I get on the plane, no hesitation. Now, here's my number one secret, and that's the carry-on backpack. Nobody usually questions a backpack. I've walked on countless flights with a 45-liter backpack on my back, and I still get to board without a hitch. I've done a couple of backpack reviews that you might want to check out. One such is the TomTalk backpack, which in my opinion is the best backpack for travel. Let me know which backpack you prefer in the comment section and your experience with it. But okay, what if you end up being told you have to gate check your bag? Or worse, they're trying to charge you for it. First things first, know what your ticket includes. Many transatlantic or trans-Pacific flights offer a free checked bag if you're not flying basic economy, so always double-check your ticket details before agreeing to pay extra. And here's a pro tip. If you are in the military and on active duty, you are in luck, because many airlines will waive baggage fees for you. That's a small gesture of thanking you for your service. It's worth asking at the counter or checking your airline's policy. Another way to save? Having the right credit card linked to your airline. Many major U.S. carriers offer co-branded credit cards with perks like a free checked bag. This usually applies if you booked your flight using that specific card. So if you've got one of those cards and they try to charge you for checking a bag, it's worth mentioning. Also, some cards, like the American Express Platinum Card, offer statement credits for airline fees. For example, you could choose United Airlines as your airline of choice, and if you're hit with a bag fee, that $200 credit can cover it as long as you haven't used up your benefit for the year. I am not a fan of credit cards, but if you have discipline, I think it is a great idea to have one just for travel. And if you're worried about carry-on luggage features causing overweight, make sure to check out my video where I highlight a few carry-ons to absolutely avoid. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you found some value from this. Use this information to get ready for your next trip. Please subscribe to the channel for more travel tips and hacks. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. Visit the links in the description for great travel resources. This will help to support the channel. Check out my main website and don't forget to stop by the blog for even more travel hacks, tips, and tricks. Both links are in the description. Check out the YouTube shopping area below the video. So, until the next video, safe travel in 2025.